there wasn't really a profession of leadership coaching back when I started. I just found my way into that space because most of my psychotherapy clients were having issues at work with their bosses. And so I thought, well, if I could just, get to the boss, I could have a greater impact.
Welcome to Be Bold Branding, where we discuss the power of differentiating yourself through your own unique story and standout personal brand. Is your organization dysfunctional? Today's guests are a mother-daughter duo who founded Caliber Leadership Systems, and they focus on dismantling dysfunction in organizations. Dr. Ann Dranitsaris and Heather Dranitsaris-Hilliard have been featured in dozens of publications, spoken at professional conferences, and written several series of books on personality type and the brain. They're known for empowering individuals, leaders, and organizations to achieve their potential by leveraging their expertise in the neurobiology of human development combined with system thinking approach. That's a mouthful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In addition to this, wait until you hear their very moving and personal story.
And Heather, welcome to Be Bold Branding.
Thank you. So excited to be here today.
Yes, truly a pleasure being here with both of you.
Yes, we're very excited about learning a little bit more about you guys. Do we want to get right into this backstory first? Because it's so fascinating, actually. Do you want to share a little bit about how you guys came together?
Yeah, absolutely. So Anne gave birth to me just a week shy of her 17th birthday. And placed me in adoption. So I was adopted by another family that raised me. And so I'm one of 3 adopted children in my adoptive family, the youngest of the 3. And when I was 27 and on the verge of getting married, I decided maybe it was a good time to learn a little bit more about my biological history and where I came from. And so I reached out to the adoption agency for my medical records. And a couple of weeks later, I got a call saying, we're all lined up to have you meet your mom and your paternal grandmother. And so I went from putting my toe in the water into, hey, I now have this whole family to start to meet. And so Anne and I met, as I said, sort of around my 27th year. So that, and 3 years later, after this connection, while we were still forging our relationship together, we started our business.
Wow.
That is fascinating. What did you notice right away in terms of like how you two were synced, or how you were similar? What did you notice?
A lot of mannerisms, and first and foremost, I think it was both of us had an interest in helping people to achieve their potential. And because Heather wasn't looking for a mother or other parents or even another family, we actually started forging the friendship and our relationship based on this mutuality of really being excited about understanding why people do what they do, what drives them to function and dysfunctional behavior. And we came at it from very different perspectives. I came at it more from the psychotherapy and coaching space, and Heather was an organizational development consultant at the time, working for a large consulting firm, and we were on opposite sides of the country, which, added to, the safety of it because we weren't thrown together physically right away. And so we were able to build the relationship over time.
Oh, how fascinating.
That's so fascinating.
It is, and I think that it just proves that no matter what the situation, when it's meant to be, it's just meant to be.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, we're in total agreement with that.
Oh, I bet. Well, we may have already answered this, but we'll ask it anyway, because the answer may be a little bit different for each of you. But who or what influenced you guys the most when it relates to what you're doing today in business?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, it's kind of not hard not to say Anne, because,
Right.
everything about how I do business today has been influenced by her understanding and her expertise around humans and how humans develop. And I certainly wouldn't be the person I am today without having forged that relationship and done the work that I've done with her over the years. And so I think that's sort of a fundamental. The path I would have gone on would have been quite different if Anne and I hadn't have made the decision to go into business together 25 years ago, just over 25 years ago now.
Wow.
Yes.
Anne?
My drive has always been, to help people. And when I started coaching, it was before people were actually in there. There wasn't really a profession of leadership coaching back when I started. I just found my way into that space because most of my psychotherapy clients were having issues at work with their bosses. And so I thought, well, if I could just get to the boss, I could have a greater impact. And coming together with Heather, what that did was it gave me a language in organizations around performance, around accountability, with all of her knowledge about the context that people lead in. And, when we married those two things, I think that mutuality of giving to each other really brought us to where Caliber is today.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Yeah.
It sure
All right.
does. It sure does.
Here's another question for you. What is the one thing that you want to be known for in your space?
I'll start with that one. It's always hard to go just one. I've got 30 in my head. Okay, just one. I think the one thing that I know that sort of always, the complexity of organizational dynamics, when you bring together all of those people trying to achieve something, and they come to it with all kinds of different skills and habits and beliefs, and so the one thing we want to always talk about being known for is that ability to cut right through and pragmatically and practically solve those issues, those dysfunctions, those challenges that seem to be inevitable, untouchable, just a foregone conclusion. There's nothing we can do about it. So that ability to come right in and lead them exactly to where they need to go to get out of that kind of chaos and dysfunction that they often find themselves in.
Yeah, I imagine there's a lot of ethereal thoughts and theory in the industry, and the ability to actually, break it down pragmatically and say, these are the steps, let's go do it, and we can fix this problem. It's kind of like the way we feel in the personal branding world, right? It's a lot of ethereal thought process out there, but there actually is a formula for like building it. And so it sounds like it's kind of the same in your space there. All right. And I'll target this one toward you. What are the warning signs that somebody needs your services?
Oh, usually they're complaining, especially leaders. And, I can say in my therapy practice, it's, people are complaining about themselves, or they're complaining about their partners or their bosses. But in organizations, it's the leaders complaining and feeling and acting like they're powerless to do anything about it. And this is to Heather's point, where she was saying that capacity that we have to come in and not just know, okay, they need this, but also what door is open to coming through. Because a lot aren't coming through. Leaders have to change their behavior, but they may be open to a system that gets us through, so that we put in that context and then we start the coaching, because the two of them go hand in hand.
Like what you're hearing? Hit that subscribe button and learn how you can change how you're seen and charge what you're worth.
Makes sense. I'm going to go off script a little bit here. Is your coaching usually focused at the leadership level to help with the performance level of the people they are managing? Or would you say it's even more so with the people they're managing to meet expectations? I hope I asked that right.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the work that we do is where what we say we're working with them to manage into the gap, right? So that managing up, managing across, and managing down, there's always a gap around leaders, and leaders sometimes get paralyzed in that. Well, my boss should do it, or my peers should be doing this, or my direct reports should be doing that, right? And so it's not usually just sort of one versus the other. Usually, if they're struggling, it's in all aspects of their context. But a lot of the work we do is between the most senior leaders and that next tier below, where the senior leaders are not particularly effective in certain aspects of leading their people, and we're working with that tier below. It's that thing of go fix them and then I'll be good.
All right.
Yeah.
So we come in and work with that group so that the most senior people can say, yeah, it wasn't about me. And we're just teaching that tier how to lead within that gap or that vacuum that's being created by their boss.
Okay, that I understand the gap for sure, because it can be in any direction. So, all right, now I'm going to shift more toward a personal question for each one of you. So each one of you take a turn and answer this. What would most people be surprised to learn about you that they cannot learn on social media?
We're avid gardeners. No, they would learn that on social media. Let me see. That's a good question. Probably for me, it's my deep quest for spiritual knowledge and spiritual awareness, and my own process for individuation in my lifetime, both from a personal, psychological, and spiritual perspective. That wouldn't come across on social media.
Nice answer.
Exactly.
Very nice answer.
What about you, Heather?
Yeah. Now, how do I follow that up? I guess probably, this is a tough one. I think the one thing that people probably wouldn't catch from social media is just how much of my sort of journey and what I'm still trying to do today is that that aspect of finding that place where we really know that we can say, yes, I'm achieving my potential. So that's always been my thing. Even when I was little, it's like, what is it? What's that next step? Where's the place where I finally learn I can't go any further in these things? And so I think for me, that would be, the kind of personal journey, which I don't tend to share outside of obviously Anne and I chat about those things, but for sure not from a social media perspective. I think I'm a little bit more, as some people call it, or my brother-in-law once referred to it as woo-woo, than you would think, given my really strong, logical, analytical, systems-driven approach, that I have that interest and appreciation for. And again, I cue Anne back on this because she introduced a lot of it to me in really integrating all of these different sort of ways of the world into what it is that I do.
I think that's probably, if I had to guess, what makes you so passionate about what you do. You call it woo-woo. I call it like emotionally attached to the outcome, right? To doing good in the world, right? And I think that's a lot of that. And I actually can see the two of you have that in common, right? And another thing you have in common, your mannerisms, even on this video, are a lot alike. It's very fascinating.
Yeah, I just tell a quick story. When Anne and I first started working together, we didn't tell anyone about our relationship. So all people knew was that these two people had gone into business together. I remember we started having clients saying things, looking at us and going, "You related?" And we're like, why? And it's like your mannerisms, sometimes your tone of voice, your expressions. And so it's really weird to think I grew up completely apart and separate. Yeah. And yet when Anne and I met, even I noticed that the first time I called to leave a voice on her voicemail, it was like, wow, she sounds like me. This is strange, right? Because when you grow up adopted, nobody looks or sounds like you. And so to have these things and say, wow, that's hardwired into my DNA, obviously, some of these aspects of my personality.
Oh, it's such a beautiful story. And thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Absolutely. So what's next? How can the audience get in touch with you because I am quite certain that there are a lot of bosses, right, and organizations that are complaining, because I know that even in my own journey as a serial entrepreneur for 30 something years, like getting the team to work together and pull in the same direction is something that is so massively valuable. And I don't know, I'm actually perplexed by it in so many ways, especially the bigger the organization goes. So anyway, how does the audience get in touch with you guys if they want to work with you?
Well, before we answer specific to that, I'm just itching to promote our new trilogy of books that are going to be coming out.
Please do.
One of the things that really isn't well known when we're on this quest to express our authentic self is, what does that even mean? And what do you have to do, and how do you go about doing that? And so our trilogy of books has 30 different exercises in each of the books explaining how to move out of your persona, the face that you show to the world, and live from your authentic self, with exercises that are going to change your brain. So the first one is just personal, to lay the foundation. The second is around, next we go to relationships, being authentic. And the last is career and in leadership. And so this whole series is like, okay, well, we've told you this isn't really developed in you. Now, here are 3 exercises for you to go and practice to change your brain. So we're really excited about that, just as, not necessarily the companies that we're working with, but more of that foundational, helping people achieve their potential with a methodology and a roadmap to do it.
I like that a lot. Where can they find that trilogy?
They will be able to find it ultimately on Amazon. We're looking for the first book to be launched at the end of this month.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, we'll put the link in the show notes.
Yes.
And it'll be perfect timing.
Yeah, easy way to access pretty much all of our resources, including our books, is to hop on over to our website. It's Dranitsaris-Hilliard.com, and hopefully the link will be there so people don't have to be able to spell it. Everything that we do, our podcast, our books, more information about the consulting work we do through our company Caliber Leadership Systems, but also the work we do with individuals, is all showcased there, as well as great content that we have on our YouTube channel, which again speaks to these things about dysfunction in organizations and how do we develop as human beings. Those are kind of the 2 tracks that Anna and I are always out there talking on.
I love it. I love it. I love your message. I know that this is a great need, and we really encourage the listeners to look up these resources, and we look forward to those books coming out.
Thank you, ladies, for spending time with us today.
And thank you for having us. This has been great.
Yeah, thanks so much, both of you.